Hey, what up, everybody? It's BQ checking in from the hiatus. I know I'm a little late to the party on this, but I did want to talk about Moose a little bit. Just to update you, I am officially 8 days away from moving, from leaving Illinois and making my trip across to Nevada. So I mentioned in my last upload, I expect to be up and running about a month earlier than I planned on. We were able to find a place before we got there, so hopefully I'll be up and running, and we'll review Impact. And before I get to Moose, so because I'm taking time off, there was no real rush for me to watch Impact and whatever. So I'm kind of binge watching today, and I actually just started the episode this morning where the Motor City Machine Guns kicked everything off, and Moose had a real good match with Rich Swann. So, I mean, I just loved watching those two guys. But I do got to give props because usually when I'm doing my podcast, I'm sitting here complaining about the video quality, right? The lighting, the settings, the post production. Yo, this episode looked freaking amazing. It's not as crystal clear as I would like, of course. But I mean, no ridiculous post production. Like the lighting looked good. So I do got to say, I was really, really pleased with that. But let's talk Moose here. I didn't see this coming even a little bit. And I talk a lot about Moose being in my top three. Moose, Rich Swann, and Steve Macklin in Impact. So I'm sort of torn on this. And the reason I say that is because, number one, of course, I want Moose to stick around. And I don't think you can replace Moose. He's one of those dudes. We've had people depart in the past, like Eli Drake. He was irreplaceable. People try to say, oh, he's replaceable. He's not. Now look what he's doing on TV. And then everyone's on Twitter, well, he used to be in TNA, everyone. Hey, look at us. There's certain people who are not replaceable. I think Jordan Grace is one of them. I think, in a sense, EC3 was. And I mean, like, peak EC3, not what he ultimately became. But they've lost some people over the years who they just felt, oh, well, we'll just replace them with somebody else. And there isn't anybody else. And I put Moose in that category, You can't replace Moose. So, I know Moose was going to leave last time, and they made him a really, really good offer. So he decided to stay, and it sounds like that's what happened here as well. And if you look at the past couple of years of Moose, like, he's essentially been like a part-time wrestler. He does not wrestle a lot on TV. He's not even on all the pay-per-views. So he seems like he's damn near got that Brock Lesnar contract going. But no, we do want to see this. We want to see them retain people. But I'm always a little more interested in them retaining someone who has a lot more upside left in him. Like, I bring Rohit Raju up a lot. Like, there was so much he could have done. Now, Moose has done quite a bit. He didn't have he has one world title reign. He hasn't had a lot of championships. But Impact doesn't put the belts on the mainstays. The mainstays lose and don't wear titles. A lot of times it's the part-timers that have titles. And, I know it's not the case at the moment. But there is still stuff for Moose to do. But at the same time, when you're watching Moose over this last year, it's kind of like, man, when's the last meaningful feud he had? Like the one with Josh Alexander, and everything else is like they just kind of throw him in there. Like, hey, he's big and tall, he's 6'10", put him in the multi-man 6-person fuckfest for the number one contendership, So even though I am excited about it, I am happy he's back. I also kind of wanted to see what he did elsewhere. And there's always a double-edged sword with that, because people, I want to try a bigger stage. They go to AEW, and it's an absolute mess over there. If you have seen Taya Valkyrie over there, it's been a nightmare. And it's like that with a lot of people. And maybe Moose is someone who reads between the lines and says, I got a good thing going here. But I also was kind of interested. What is this guy? What could he do elsewhere? I would like to see him wrestle against people who are not contracted Impact talents. But, you know, I just hope that they have something for him. I would love for him and Brian Myers to win the world tag team titles. If that happens, great. I would love to see another world title run. You know, like if you're going to have them around from the long haul, like do something. It's kind of like Eddie Edwards. Like he resigns every year for multiple years. Sami Callihan resigns for multiple years, but they don't hold titles. They don't even win a lot of matches. You know, so if you're gonna like keep someone long term, like I want to see them really, really do something in the company. So we'll see if that's what they do. But I do think Moose has a lot of star power. As I said, you cannot replace him. When I was watching years ago Ring of Honor, he was one of the reasons I watched the show. And he's nowhere. He's, god dang, Moose of back then was nothing compared to what he is now. But he was one of the reasons I watched. Like he stood out to me. And I think Impact has to put a premium on guys who stand out. Got the guys who you just say are irreplaceable. Like we liked Jake something, but you can find someone to fill that role fairly easily if you wanted to. You know, and those are the people they let depart, people they think are replaceable. But then they've let people go who are not replaceable, and it's hurt the product tremendously. So I'm happy he's around. I just hope that they creatively find some good things for him to do, find some good opponents. Like if you bring people in and they're short term, you know, like, I mean, did Moose ever wrestle Jonah? You know, I don't think that happened. You know, I just want, when Moose is prominently featured and he's at the top of the card and he's got something creative to do, the show is better for it. He's always one of the better parts of the show, but he's just kind of utilized it. You know, break glass in case of emergency. We need someone to throw in this number one contenders match. And he's a star all the way around. So good on Impact for keeping the guy, but we also want to see them, you know, re-sign people a little less than him too, so that we can see them grow and develop. You know, but good stuff for Impact. I would have loved to see what Moose did elsewhere, but he is here, and hopefully they win those tag team titles. I'm your boy, BQ. I'm out. Peace.